On September 2nd, 2015, I started a creative endeavor that you couldn't tell me today would have changed my life and opened so many doors. September 2nd, 2015 is when I launched the Better Leaders, Better Schools podcast. So, what I want to share with you is a quick story and then 10 lessons that I've learned as a creator, as a leader, as someone being out there in public and just sharing, creating value, trying to serve others, and what it's been like. So enjoy. I'm in a very small apartment in Chicago. It's a Sunday afternoon. I slam my laptop with frustration. I'm pissed and I'm kind of scared. And I think to myself, oh no, where did my files go? See, I'm new to the podcast game and I've recorded 5, maybe 10 episodes at this point. My mentor, John, told me to create at least 3 months of runway. He might have said 6. I think I'm embellishing. But the point is to have enough content created and in the quote unquote vault so that you're never scrambling to create an episode for that next week. So there I was, pre podcast launch, and a number of episodes in the vault. I had just finished recording with a brilliant principal named Tim Devine. He's the principal of the number one high school in all of Illinois, Walter Payton College Prep. This is an extremely exciting interview for me. I learned so many amazing things from this principal, and my niche, my audience, is school leaders, those that want to reimagine education within a traditional setting so that we create campus experiences worth showing up for. And I'm done recording with Tim. I can't find his recording, his file anywhere. And I am worried. So I look everywhere. I look digitally in Google Drive. I look in Dropbox. I even look underneath my couch. Maybe a thumb drive fell out of my laptop and onto the ground. But there's nothing. Nada. I cannot find the recording anywhere. I'm so embarrassed and not sure what to do in this moment. I draft an email explaining the loss of the file. I profusely apologize for this mistake and I asked Tim to come back and re record with me the conversation one more time. I wait a few minutes. His reply hits my inbox and it says, "No thanks, I'll pass." I'm shattered, but I kind of get it. It is my fault. I own it. I am the one who misplaced this recording. Only God knows where it ended up. I haven't found that recording to this day. So that conversation will never be brought into this world. And then I think at the time, I really think if I quit now, before I go into public, before I start sharing my do school different point of view, I won't attract the trolls and the haters and the play it safe principals who will disagree with my message as I start to put it out there. Maybe this is the universe telling me that I'm not cut out for it, that I'm on the wrong path. I slump back into my chair, defeated. It'll be easier to stop now, I tell myself. And just then, as I close my laptop, I see a book that I had been reading. It's a book called Choose Yourself, Be Happy, Make Millions, and Live the Dream. It's by James Altucher, and it's a book that changed my life. I think. Looking at that title, flipping through the pages, rereading the annotations that I wrote in the margins or the lines that I underlined, the lines that spoke to my soul. Choose yourself. And in that moment, I decide I ain't giving up. I'm going to choose myself. And I feel this warmth, this confidence start to rise inside of me. And I do a bit of research. I learn how to sort of automate the recording process, put it in the right place in terms of file storage and create backups. I learn from this mistake and build a system so that it never happens again. Now, this isn't the first mistake that I make while podcasting, and eventually mistakes I make all the time while running my business. But it is the moment that I realize that challenges, mistakes, obstacles are nothing more than an opportunity to get better. And that's how I choose to look at it when I see that book, Choose Yourself. I reframe the mistake as an opportunity to get better in the moment. I recreate a recording system that I use to this day, and I level up. Fast forward literally 10 years later, the Better Leaders, Better Schools podcast has been downloaded millions of times. It ranks in the top 0.5% of all shows worldwide, and it has changed my life. It's crazy even saying these words and recording this story for you. And now I'd love to share 10 lessons that I've learned being in the game for the last decade. I've lived out what James Altucher has said. I have experienced tremendous amounts of happiness because of the way I get to serve school leaders. I have made millions, right? And I'm living the dream. I would argue that I had the best quote unquote job in the world because I get to work with school leaders that see themselves as ruckus makers, that want to do school different, and nobody forces them to work with me. They're all there because they want to be. They want to level up. They want to get better. So I have a great job. Here are the 10 lessons that I've learned over the last decade. Take them for what they're worth. And I hope maybe you even write them down. If you put in the comments or reply, Danny at betterleadersbetterschools.com. Would love to hear which one resonated most with you. So here's number one. Most overnight successes are 10 years or more in the making, right? So you see somebody pop into the scene, they're experiencing all sorts of like incredible success. Every now and then there's this like, moment where somebody really blows up, but more often than not, it is putting in the effort, rolling up your sleeves, doing the hard work, and then things take off. So don't quit too soon. A lot of people quit before they experience success. It might be the day before, the hour before that things really take off for you. The best bet you can make is a bet on yourself. So, number two, be an original. I've read almost all of Seth Godin's books. I've been in most of his courses. I took his Alt MBA. I was a coach for the Alt MBA, a fantastic program. Seth wrote a book called A Purple Cow, and the gist of Purple Cow is be an original, right? I grew up in Chicago. I would drive down to Champaign-Urbana to go to college. It's an extremely boring drive. It's about 2.5 hours down 57 South. It's all very flat. It's all very much, once you get out of the city, cornfields and farms. It's a boring, dull drive. There's no mountains. There's no oceans. It's just a straight shot. And essentially, you see a lot of cows. They're black and white, brown and white. But if you saw one purple cow, right, you tell all your friends. And there's a business lesson there too, is when you are original, sure, you can run ads, you can do all the sort of marketing techniques that are out there. But by being original, you really grow by word of mouth. And that's the best form of marketing you can ever have. And I think that's a big reason why I'm able to make this video for you today. So that's number two. Number three, fire yourself. This is one of my favorite tips. I love to create programs and create experiences, and I run them as experiments. I hold them very loosely. I'm not too worried if they're like a huge success or failure. I mean, I'm playing my own game. I'm defining the rules of that game and how I even win. And after I've proven a concept, maybe I've led a group through some kind of process a few times, then I give it away to my team and they begin to run it. And I sit back, go to the laboratory, and I create something new again, which I'll run for a few times. I'll eventually fire myself. I'll train my team, give it to my team. And this is the secret to scaling and creating exponential value for yourself, for your team, for the clients, customers, and those that you love, that you serve. So you create, fire yourself, you give it away, train, and you do it again. Repeat the process. You could do that infinitely. Number four, ask this question every morning. It comes from the one thing, and I can save you reading the book and just share the question with you now. Thank me later. I saved you a few hours. But they did come up with the greatest question of all time, which is, what's the one thing I can do today that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? If you wake up and ask a question and answer that question every single day, you're really going to run an efficient, optimized business. Your life is going to be in order. I'm just telling you, this is honestly the best question you could consider. That's it for number four. Number five, just look for leverage. So leverage is just something that you're going to do that's going to give you sort of like with minimal effort, maximum return, right? That might be by hiring and training and having a great team around you. That might be learning different types of automations that are out there with AI being introduced and all the amazing stuff you can do there. That's a huge way of building leverage. And so just look for that because, again, like the 80-20 rule states, 20% of your activity is going to create 80% of the results. So focus on that 20%. Why would you do anything else? You're just wasting time. All right, that's all I have to say about number five. Number six, take action, then improve. I like to move fast. I love to experiment. Jim Collins very famously said, shoot bullets before cannonballs. And that's just a metaphor for the size of the experiment, right? So you start small, you see, you test, you get feedback. Even if nobody responds, that's feedback that it's not working, right? And you learn from it, you make things better before you make it bigger. That's all I want to say about number six. Number seven, fear. You can see it over my shoulder. There's two sides to every coin. If you flip that coin, fear's on one side, but what's on the other? It's adventure. It literally probably shows up in your body in the same type of way. Your heart rate might elevate. You might start to sweat a little bit. You might feel a little uneasy or nervous. That's okay. But you can choose, is this something I'm afraid of or something I'm excited about? You know, is it fear or is it adventure? It's honestly your choice. One of my nephews, we were riding a roller coaster. And as you can tell, I mean, it's going to start off kind of slow and you're climbing and ascending. And by the time you get to the top, my nephew Levi realized, oh boy, we're gonna have to come down at some point. And he started to freak out. I mean, like really freak out, almost embarrassingly. Like we need to shut down the ride and somebody has to rescue us on helicopters or Mission Impossible type of rescue. Well, that didn't happen. We went down, the ride finished, and all that fear that Levi had built up, by the time we were done, he was laughing uncontrollably, smiling, and said, you know, Uncle Danny, can we do it again? It was the same emotion, just depends on how you look at it. That's all I want to say about number seven. Number eight, what kind of pain do you choose? Jim Rohn, has one of the best quotes in the world. He has so many good quotes. Actually, before I get to that quote, he said, you're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. That quote in 2015 put me on a different trajectory that started the podcast and changed my life to where I'm talking to you 10 years later, having the privilege of doing this as my full-time thing. It's amazing. All right. But another quote that Jim had that's really great is, must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. So you get to choose. What kind of pain do you want to experience? That's all I want to say about number eight. Number nine, success, money, and recognition will not make you happy. These are things that people chase, right? Making the $250,000, the $500,000, the million or more, right? Getting X amount of followers, X amount of impressions, or likes, or shares, or comments, or whatever. All of that stuff does not matter, right? Yeah, you need money to buy stuff, pay rent, all that kind of stuff. I get it. But it doesn't make you happy. These are all external things that we're putting out there that we're seeking validation from. And I promise you, right, from the success that I've experienced, from people that I run with that are infinitely more successful than me, attaining that stuff, getting those things, ultimately does not bring happiness. It starts from an inner game of excellence that you have to monitor and think about, meditate on, and control. But it's who you are becoming, right? And defining the rules of the game that you want to play that leads to happiness and nothing else. And that's all I'm going to say about number nine. Number 10, love. Love is literally at the center of what we do when we're serving school leaders. And, I mentioned fire yourself. So when we started out the company, I was coaching all the groups. And I introduced the concept of a mastermind to K-12 education. It is a fantastic model, a way of supporting school leaders, leadership development. We met them exactly where they're at and solved their biggest challenges in the moment, right? It wasn't a one size fits all type of experience. It wasn't us saying, like, here's the things you need to know and now do it. It was extremely personalized and in this group setting where folks could learn from each other. But at the end of every call, I would tell our members, hey, love you all. And if you need anything between now and the next meeting, please reach out. And I meant it, right? I told students when I taught them as a classroom teacher, I loved them. Told my staff as a principal that I love them. There is no greater force in this world than love. And if you keep that at the center of what you do, I promise that you'll experience success and happiness in ways that you can not even imagine at this moment. But people feel that, right? I could create a video where I'm not even saying a word, and just by how I show up in my body posture and the energy around me, you would know what I'm putting out there. People can sense it, they can feel it. And so let love be rooted in everything that you do. I wish you nothing but success. If you got any questions, comments, hit me back and go out there and make a ruckus. Bye for now.